Greetings. We're going to do our first lesson about Git. Last year, students talked about Git as being sort of like a Google Doc for code. And that's an okay way of thinking about what the goals of Git are. So Git is a version control system that lets you keep track of previous versions of your own codebase. It's a collaboration tool that will let multiple programmers program on the same codebase at the same time without overwriting each other's stuff or stepping on each other's toes. And it will also enable you to share your codebase over the cloud and have a lot of people share the same codebase who are not located in the same place. That said, Git is a more complex and more powerful tool than Google Docs is. We're just going to do the barest bones, most basic stuff, and then we'll add on to it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a Git repository. A repository is a place where you store all of the snapshots of your codebase. And I'm going to show you how you can make commits. Using Git, the word commit means snapshot of your codebase. So when you want to save the current state of your code, you make a commit. This will all become clear once we start doing it. So here's what we're going to do. I've created a new project called Numberbag. Numberbag is sort of like our old letterbag class, except it's for numbers. I want a class whose purpose is to store numbers. The numbers are between 0 and whatever this is. So this is between 0 and 100 in this case. So you can add a bunch of numbers, and then you can answer certain questions about them. Like I can ask the bag, what's the frequency of the letter 3? So how many times did I add the letter 3? So in this case, it should output 2 because I added 3 2 times. So right now, I haven't actually created any of these methods. That's why there are these compile time errors. But let's go ahead and make a repository so that I can show you how you do that, and then we'll make some changes to the code, and then we'll make a commit to take an updated snapshot of our repository. So last time I used Baboon. Today I'm going to use Git Bash. So your first step is, just like before, we need to navigate to our project folder. So mine is in the D drive, so I'll start by saying change directory, D. And now it's in David, let's see, Java Workspaces. So if you don't remember, I'm hitting tab here, and tab is outputs what all the possible next directories could be. I'm in, let's see, APCS 2016 examples, and this is the project called Numberbag. Okay, so here we are inside Numberbag. When I do an ls for list inside the Numberbag directory, I see a source folder and a bin folder for binary. So the source folder is where all your Java files are. The bin folder is where all the compiled class files are. Usually you don't want to take a snapshot of the compiled files. You only want to save your Java files. So let's do this. Right now there is no repository. So the way that you create one is do pwd and make sure that you are inside the top level folder for your project. And then type git init. And it should say initialized empty git repository. Alright, the first time you use Git, it's possible it might pop up a message telling you that you need to type these two things. Git config -- global user.name, and then inside double quotation marks you would type your actual name. Don't type the word your name. And then same thing for your email address. The reason why is because whenever you make a commit, remember that means take a snapshot, whenever you take a snapshot, this information is attached to that snapshot. So if you're collaborating with other people, everybody knows who made the edits. Alright, so if that's happened to you, you can go ahead and type these two things. Otherwise, we're ready to make our first snapshot. Initializing the repository hasn't actually taken a snapshot of our codebase yet. So type git status. What git status does is it tells you what files are in your snapshot and which ones aren't. So right now nothing is. Those are the untracked files. So Git isn't keeping track of anything. We want to keep track of only the files inside src. So you say git add, and then src, and then enter. And then if you type git status, here it says changes to be committed, and that it knows what files are in there. So we're going to take a snapshot of those two files, and then we're still not tracking any of these other files. So we still haven't made a snapshot yet. The way you make a snapshot is you type git commit -m, and then you attach a message to your snapshot that's a summary of what the snapshot is. This one I'm just going to type first commit. But if we were going to make a specific change, this would be a description of the change that we made. All right, so it's worked so far. So now let's pretend that we're going to actually work on our code. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and create the inside of some of this class. So here I am inside NumberBag. I'm going to create a very naive implementation of this class. So this is not the best approach, but this is a good one to start with, and then we'll improve it later. So I'm going to store all of my numbers in just a big array list. So an array list of integers, which I will call list. And then I'm going to need a max value, because remember, my class only stores integers up to a particular max value. And now I'll need the constructor. And I'll instantiate my list. And I'll store to max value. All right, so the constructor's done. So at this point, I mean, you might want to just charge ahead and keep coding, but we've finished a logical chunk of our code. We've added fields and we've created a constructor. So at this point, we want to take another snapshot. This might feel too soon to you, but this is the right level, this is the right frequency for taking snapshots. Every single time you complete a method, every single time you fix a bug, any single logical task that gets completed should be inside its own snapshot. So let's go back to get bash, type get status to see what's changed, and it knows what's been modified. I've changed NumberBag. So the way that we add this to the next snapshot is we say get add src / NumberBag. Notice that src / NumberBag is the same as the file path for the file that had been edited. So hit enter, and now we've added it. So we can say now get commit -m, because that's going to create a commit. And here I give my description. So I say add fields and constructor to NumberBag, because that's a succinct description of what will happen if somebody accepts that snapshot. It will add those things to their NumberBag class. Okay, so now it's said that it has done those things. So let's go ahead and make one more commit. So I'm continuing to program. Let's make the add method. So you might think about doing it this way, public void add int number. So you might think, let's do list.addN. So when someone else says they want to add a number, we'll just take that number and immediately add it to our list. This doesn't fit what we said we wanted to do, though, because we said we're only going to accept numbers up to this maximum. So only if the number is, well, so let's do it this way. So we're going to return a Boolean, which is whether or not this method has successfully added the number. So for example, if they try and add -10, that's not valid, so it's going to return false. So if the number is less than 0, or the number is larger than max value, if either of those things are true, we don't want to save it. So we'll just return false. Otherwise, it must be in the correct range, so we'll add it and we'll return true. Okay, so now we've created the add method. So again, let's go back and make a snapshot. See if you can remember, there are 3 commands that we want to type. The first command tells us what's been modified. The second command tells us what we want to add to our snapshot. The third command actually makes the commit and takes the snapshot. So get status tells us what's been modified. Now that I know, oh yeah, it's NumberBag. So get add source NumberBag. And now get commit -m. Add an add method to NumberBag. Cool, so we've made the commit. So that's the cycle that you're going to do over and over and over again. It might feel like extra work to constantly be going back and forth. It's really the right practice, though, and once you're collaborating with a lot of other people, this will make your life a heck of a lot easier.